This tank is a beast. T10E5 is one of the oldest tank in the game and also one of the strongest tank in the game, and it is the best tank for being jack of all trades. The tank has received numerous buffs in the past few years, and the latest one is the alpha buff from 420 to 440 with slight reload increase. DPM is almost the same, just 4 difference, but the buff it received before this one, where they buffed its alpha from 400 to 420, HP from 22 to 2400, accuracy, terrain resistance, that was a huge buff. But even now, the 440 alpha with a 9.1 seconds of base reload makes this tank a monster, because this tank always had a very strong hull as well as the turret, excluding the hatch. Otherwise this tank would be so strong that no one could even handle this tank, no matter what this tank do, as long as it's facing towards them. But even now, the hatch is not that easy to hit if you keep moving, if they have the aim assistance on or off. Like, you might miss, or if you don't hit the center, you might still bounce even when you hit the hatch. So whenever you're playing this tank, you can be aggressive. The more aggressive, the more move forward, back. When you're moving, it is more difficult for them to hit you. And you'll see it right here, not even a care. Of course, I'm in a platoon, and there's the waffle. He bounced one, bounced second, not scared about or blocked another shot from T55A. And what do we have here? E50 YOLOing me. E50, who do you think I am, huh? Who do you think I am? Another E50? No, it's a T10E5. He rammed me. I didn't take any damage. Of course, the T55, he penned me though. And as I said, I just don't care. You can be aggressive. Of course, you need some support. You can't kill 5 tanks by yourself, right? But when you're playing this tank, you can be as aggressive as you want. You will dominate as long as you have a same or more HP, and you're hitting shots. And the gun is beautiful. As you can see, I was a little bit confident, missed the first shot on AVRE. But if you're aiming, the gun is as reliable as it can be for a 120 that fires AP. Even has a solid heat pen. And chasing my next target, T55A. He is firing heat as well, taking his time to aim. So, you know, good for him that he's punishing. He got some damage. But I saw there's an artillery, and you guys know what I hate more than any other tank? It is artillery. Well, excluding AVRE. AVRE is the priority, and then it goes artillery. And so we gave this T55A a little bit extra time to enjoy this match, but that was it. His time had run out, and it's time for him to go to garage. Now, turning around, going to the other side, 3600 damage. And as you can see, a lot of you guys, you don't like the slow gameplays. Like, we like to see brawling, we like to see action, quick action, you know, going head to head with super heavies or whatnot. And what do we have next target? T10E5, T95. I hit his hatch, but bounced. He had already fired, so just charging forward, no more holding. That T10E5 doesn't know the meaning of the word holding. All it knows is just driving forward and destroying enemies. I hugged the T95 here, and he changed his mind. He's like, I can't handle this E5. I'll try to hit the chalk, but actually he's just confused. He's just confused, and all of a sudden there is a traffic jam or a roadblock with 2 tanks, E50 and T95, and those are heavier tanks, and we weren't gonna, or we couldn't even push them. So decided to go to the other side. But the team was coming also from the other side, and I expected that they would come and they will get blocked by a roadblock and will create confusion for them. Mouse sideways. I mean, he wouldn't have. He didn't stand a chance even if he pushed head on, but he pushed sideways. Well, Mouse, wrong day to pick a fight against an E5, because even if he was full health, E5 would always win against Mouse because of its DPM, the premium heat, and of course better, more consistent armor, except the hatch, of course. Now, pushing around them, I was expecting those guys would be around that roadblock, struggling to clear it, and probably will come back. So just slowly making my way towards them. I was hoping they don't speak right here, but what do we have? IS-32, almost full health. I rushed my shot because I didn't want him chalk to hit him, but unfortunately he ammo-ragged him. Unacceptable, unacceptable. Only I should be the one doing damage and everyone else should be supporting me. At least that's the best case scenario. 1500 HP remaining. They still have 3 tanks and 21% HP. But as I said, you know, a conservative gameplay, I don't know what that is. And there's Type 5. He fired HE, 400 damage. 400. I penned him twice. That is 880 damage when he penned me once. But not to worry, boys. Not to worry. I'm going to pen him one more time before he's reloaded. So 1200 actually. That's 1320 damage while he fired once. And then he put a second shot in chalk, and I put another one into him, bringing my total to 7300. And one of the most armored tanks, Type 5, didn't even stand a chance against E5. When E5 rushes you, you pray. You pray that he misses, or you pray maybe he's using standard shells, because if he is loaded, you do not stand a chance. One tank remaining, and now pushing again the initial route where I started the battle from. But I would be stopped by the roadblock we created. And that's kind of unfortunate. But that was kind of funny. Because of this roadblock, they were forced to split. 2 of them came back, or Type 5 came back first. And then this guy crossed over on the other side, and so was the BZ-75. Their plan to push as a wolf pack failed because of that accidental roadblock that we created. Moving on to the next battle now. This was Pearl River, beautiful game, and next map is Vineyards. They do have an artillery. Sorry, not Vineyards, Nabelberg Small. Pushing forward towards the mid encounter battle, and while playing this map, I just like to go to the mid. I hope that we have sniper support so that when they push, I want them to push first. So when they push, they take damage from our tank destroyers. I get the assist, and of course, I then punish them as well. I do have AP loaded in the beginning. I had AT loaded as well, but what was happening was whenever I would switch shells, I would keep accidentally switching to AT and then doing 100 damage. Very frustrating feeling, and it happened multiple times. That's just lack of awareness from my side. So the best thing I could have done was get rid of AT, just have AP and heat loaded so that switching is easier. Pushing forward, I was glad to see that we have 3 tank destroyer providing support, because most of the times whenever I'm playing the spots, I have no support. I usually get no tank destroyer, which I just don't understand. You have a beautiful hill from both spots to just farm whoever pushes the middle, because a lot of the people do push the middle, and most of the time we just don't get any support, and then I get punished. There's a VK Bravo. Lucky for him, I had EP loaded, and that's why I just try to load heat. I just try to load heat so that if there's a heavy tank, I don't bounce. But I did spot him, and air summon his leopard, managed to put 2 shots into him. E6 pushed forward, and I was shocked again. How did they not pen E6? How? But that didn't stop the E5 from peeking. The MBTB also another tank that was buffed, just pure heat spamming, dominating, just demoralizing that MBTB. I was a little worried that they might have tank destroyer that can shoot me, but when I kept peeking and didn't get shot, the only one who shot me or penned me was that Rogel. I was getting a little bit more confident. I'm like, maybe they don't have support. Maybe they don't have support. And if we had better outlines, I wouldn't bounce as many shots as I do now, because I can see things clearly. That Rogel bounce was because of the poor outline system we have. So I was testing it again. I'm like, let this tiger peek. I'll hold a little bit. I'm gonna peek. Let this tiger mouse peek. Just making sure if these guys are even looking at us. And if he doesn't take a big hit from the back, he has still the 1300. That means they have no support. And what does that mean? They don't have any TD support, and as soon as this pen mouse once, I'm gonna charge. I am ready to charge. I'm ready to jump the prey. Waiting for the right opportunity. Emil is moving forward. He fired. I just needed them to fire once. Basically the Rogel. I'm not even worried about MBTB. And there it is. There it is. He penned the tiger mouse. I thought I would finish the MBTB. I didn't. But Emil didn't miss. And now Rogel is right here. He's moving a little bit. I panicked. But we did end up killing the MBTB though. So I panicked here. I thought he's gonna pen me because it is Rogel with a big gun, huge pen, and of course a secondary weapon. So decided to be a little bit safer. I was just peeking, but he managed to put another shot into me. So Rogel penned me twice, and essentially he's bullying me. Not anymore. I am done. He doesn't have any TD support. So I'm just pushing forward, as I know I can pen him twice before he's loaded. And to save me, the Emil too pushed forward. Emil, just block a shot or take a shot from me. He didn't, and actually Rogel also prioritized me. And meanwhile, this Tiger Mouse is blocking me. But the best thing sometimes you can do when you're under pressure is just push forward and bully the tank. That's bullying you. And he was down to one shot. I spotted artillery, well, killed artillery, and someone from my team who flanked around, they managed to take out Rogel. So 3600 damage, bounced the shot unfortunately. But we're in a very strong position because I have the middle, they have no one in a position to shoot me. Which means free farming. Free farming, boys. Another tank gets spotted at the spot, and he didn't even... He's not even playing. Why? Why do people log in and not even play? I understand you're bottom tier, but still. Don't launch the game. Because if you are bottom tier most of the time, you will end up in a tier 10 lobby. So some free damage, but I think I deserve it for making that aggressive play. A shot into the waffle, and since he got spotted, I turned around to prioritize this VK Bravo. Not this time we have heat loaded. Well, epic fail. Hopefully third time is the charm. I have bounced him 3 times. 1 with AP and twice with heat. I was also worried if Waffle might shoot me, but since he's dead I can back up. As I'm safe. Trying to get shots on, or trying to spot someone else. I thought that heavy that was close to me is still alive, but he's not. And finally I penned VK's cheek. Also that tank actually got buffed recently, we had a video about it. Decent tank. Leopard 1 gets spotted, he's backing up. He's trying to get in cover, but instead ending up exposing himself to the E5 that is just sitting in the middle. King of the hill. He goes down to the Batchat. There is a full health FP, and I was thinking, should I push right? But I was thinking that they would have people on the left side, so if I go right I might not have shots on rest of their 3 tank destroyers. And by the time I came over here, he was already almost dead. I got the kill though. But good decision to not rotate around, because I would have missed out on a lot of damage. That's gonna happen now. They have 2 tanks alive, both of them probably full health. One of them is Borsig. Borsig also like one of the lethal tanks, especially when you get penned by that 750. He fired, I don't know if it was bounce or HE, but that is it for him. He will go down before he could reload. I will pen him 3 times, sending him back to garage. The last tank, V5, and E5 is not stopping. He's not stopping. He's just charging forward. Even though I'm 1 health. Well, I mean, he's distracted, so maybe if he was looking towards me I wouldn't have been aggressive. But as I said, E5 does not stop. And for those who like that, you know, brawling, this intense battle the entire game, this is the tank for you. Another 8k damage in Nebelberg, and for the last and final game we are in Lakeville. There is 1 artillery, but I do have the better spawn for this map. Of course, the more gun depression the better, but even 8 is workable. You just have to make sure that you let the opponent to make a peek, because if you keep peeking, of course their support would hit you. But this is one of those maps where you can't run around. You basically go to a spot and you have to win that engagement before anything else happens, and if your team wins the backside, then this is where you end up for the entire battle. And also one of my, when I first started games, one of my more preferred maps, because you don't have to learn much about the map. You just go to one spot and farm. You go to the choke point in the middle and just start farming. And this is our first target, the last season's reward tank. And usually the USP tank gamers are easier to deal with, because on average, more average players or newer players have access to this tank. And that means the chances that they don't know what they're doing are high. They just think they have a tier 10 and they can do whatever they want, but that's not the case. Because even when I ignore a tier 8, I get bullied by them, I get harassed by them. I can't even tell you the amount of times I ignore a tier 8 thinking, oh, it's just that little tier 8, what can he really do? And then I get bullied by him. So I've learned it the hard way. Well, I'm still learning because I still make those mistakes, that never underestimate anyone, even if it's a tier 8. Type 5. He had fired, or at least I thought he had fired, so I shot him, ammo-ragged him, yak pushing forward. Just distributing love to everyone. I don't focus one tank. I spread love to everyone. I give attention to every tank. But it was the time for FV 2-5 to go back to garage. Good thing for me is they're not really paying attention, and that 340 heat pen is doing its magic, destroying any tank, no matter how heavily armored they are. No matter if it's a Type 5 or a Yak Panzer, I don't think I've bounced any shots so far. Our Chog is peeking sideways. He did manage to pen Yak, bringing him to one shot, but it is a little difficult for Chog to play that area because he only has 6 degrees gun depression and you can get punished. Type with an HE round. I won that trade, but usually I prefer to at least spend them twice. And what do we have there? A 705 in a weird spot. I don't know what it was. Maybe he just liked that position, better view. But a little bit unusual than your regular spots. Of course, they have TD supporting them. The game is as close as it can be. 12-12 score and 68% HP on both teams. Cannot get any closer. And actually, that's the life these days. If you are a good player, you will either get on a team which is balanced, or you will get on a team which is, your team is much worse, so you're gonna end up losing. The new matchmaking is just terrible. It's just terrible. Before, you had a chance to be on good team, bad team, or balanced team, and of course you can make your or influence the balanced team matches and improve your win rate, and hence you technically had a chance to have a 67% win rate easily on playing solo. But with this matchmaking changes, which I have a separate video, it's just super bad. They need to change it back or fix it or make it better. If you're a good player, you get punished by being on a balanced team or a bad team, but if you're a bad player, you get rewarded by being on a balanced team or on a good team. So basically forcing everyone to have a 50% win rate. It is very, very frustrating and unfair. It's not even skill based, it's like skill deterrent, what someone call it, because I get stacked with the teammates that would do 0 damage. So instead of players like 2 0 damage on the left, 2 on the right, we get teams with all the 0 damage players will be on my side, so we're playing 10v15. And you just cannot win those unless you get super lucky. But that's enough. Check out the separate video for the matchmaking disaster that's going on. And our team, they have made a breakthrough on the 0 line while I'm holding this side strong. One thing I noticed after this game was I don't had enough heat rounds, and I ran out of them and ended up bouncing some shots. Otherwise I would have had even a better game. So I switched my APs from 17 to 10 because both heat and AP, they have the same shell velocity. And heat, of course, when you're up close brawling, heat is the way. It will handle the more heavily armored more effectively, and speed is really not much of an issue. So Type 5 trying to hide, but he couldn't. And what do we have? This Vanguard! He's going for a breakthrough. He thought maybe he can just push and kill artillery. I understand it. They were trapped, and his only way was either sit there hoping for someone to pen or make a run for it and kill the artillery. And even when you lose a game but end up killing the artillery, it is satisfying. It is satisfying. We cannot deny it. So 7,700 damage, killing the Type 5. Mouse is 14. I just didn't realize this was my last heat shell. And I'm now end up gonna bounce 3 shots. But nonetheless, that is it for this video. Do let me know in comments what do you think about this tank. What do you think about the new buff, or what of the buff it has received over time? Since it's one of the oldest, the chances are that most of you already have this tank are higher. Also, if you haven't joined the regiment, make sure to check out our community regiment, Loki hyphen, the 3rd one, so you don't miss out on the Regi coins. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. And make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the video or content.